What's up, guys? It's your boy, Lord Ito in the house. We out here, you know what I'm saying? We're doing this bitch. Take 2 of my live stream. We're going over Latin music production today, specifically talking about percussion, and we're talking about drums, instrument, and how to incorporate them into your music, and how to record them in your, for example, if you're in a room like this, where you can't get to a studio, you want to record live instrumentation on a production to capture a live feel. This is a good start into that whole thing. So, camera 2 is the money shot. Oh yeah, you know that money shot, baby. You know that money shot, crazy. Let me stop. If you didn't know, I fucked up. Anyway, I was streaming for an hour by myself. Literally nobody had no idea how to fuck with the settings, because last time I did it, I just went go live, and then it just went live, and then that was it. This one I scheduled it, but I guess I scheduled it the wrong way, where the fucking it was something where it just didn't connect with the Streamlabs thing. Now I know. Thanks to Nefertiti. I appreciate you. Let's give it up for her for saving the day, because my ass is so we are going to do this whole thing all over again. And we are going to I'm going to show you guys what I did. I had a whole intro thing, but I'm not going to get into that. I'm just going to get right into this production that I have right here. Let's go. All right, so what I want to show you guys first is pretty much I have a single coming out on Friday called Morena. It's a song pretty much about my love for black women in the African diaspora, and kind of like my experiences in that whole thing. And I wrote the song, and I produced the song with 2 amazing producers, one guy from LA, Cushy, aka Seamus, and my boy David, who lives in Brooklyn, goes by the name of Ballpoint. And 2 dope producers helped me out with this production to bring out the fucking quality of the shit. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm going to show you guys a snippet of the song that I'm gonna be releasing on Friday, Morena, and then I'm gonna show you how I pretty much reimagined the song, and I pretty much reproduced the song, and I kind of stripped it down into a more live instrumentation and production using the instruments that you see right behind me. Cajon, I got bongo, guido, and the bitch ass cowbell over there. If you guys don't know, this is a guido right here. And it's more of a traditional guido. They usually use this in like the southern parts of Puerto Rico, and in Cuba, they call it a banana, pretty much. They just call it a banana because it's actually supposed to be shaped by like a plantain. I don't know, some bullshit that they made up. Can you tell I'm angry? Do you have your agua? I have my agua. Anyway, let's show you guys the song really quick. Let's go to camera 2. Let's show you guys a song really quick, and give you like a little snippet so you guys can take a listen to what it sounds like before I show you guys how it sounds when I go into this newer production, and I'll explain into further detail. But this song is called Morena. Oopsie daisy, baby. Oopsie daisy, baby. All right, here we go.
Siete más mujeres que son diablas, please. Negra con bikini solo para mí. Pelo rizado con un culazo así. Morena, morena, morenita, aquí. Quiero tu cuerpito en mi cama. Y baila rumba, pero solo encima de mí, bebé. Baila rumba, negra, babe. Maneja, 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 yeah. Baila rumba, negra, babe. Morena, morena, morena. Siempre te adoro, tomaré tu foto cuando me miras así, así. Luna de la noche, soy como
stop it there. But pretty much, why is it? There you go. So pretty much that's what it sounds like. The produced version. Let's clap. Clap it up for me. And yeah, so that's what the song sounds like. The produced version of that song. I think the fucking camera 2's about to die, guys. Camera 2's going very soon. What I was gonna say. Am I bugging? There it goes. Okay. So now, I'm going to, the whole point of this whole thing is to pretty much show you guys how I took that whole thing, that whole production, and I arranged it into something completely different. I actually turned it into, motherfucking, this day is not going. My fuck up post on Instagram just posted right now. That's why nobody was showing up. God bless YouTube. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you guys how I basically took that production and I turned it into a traditional cumbia. So for a cumbia, kind of like the basis of cumbia, it's a Colombian traditional music. And there's a bass rhythm to cumbia, right? And I'll show you that right now. So the bass rhythm to cumbia music, when you hear it, it sounds very much like this. Right? That's like the bass rhythm when it comes to like cumbia music. It's very heavy on guiro, it's very heavy on cowbell, and it's very heavy on like percussion, small percussion instruments like bongo and like cajon. Right? So, what I'm going to show you right now is, watch this, camera 2. Oh, not, it's not even camera 2. Why is it not doing it? Oh, that's why. Isn't that cool? Isn't this cool? I'm sorry. I'm still like a fucking child when it comes to these transitions and this machine, because I only use it when I stream. Clearly, I have to fucking practice with it because I'm being a fucking idiot with it. But anyway, let's go to the live scene. There's 2 of me. Hey! Fucking up again. All right, so here we have our session here. And what we're going to do is I'm going to play the song, and I'm going to just break everything down as to what I did. And kind of show you guys and walk you through how you can make a Latin music production using live instrumentation just in the comfort of your room if you have like microphones. When I was talking about it before, my fuck up, I was talking about how I was using a very simple drum recording setup that I got. This is a very inexpensive drum set of microphones that you can use, that I've been using for all of my drum tracking and shit. And very simple things. I use basically this microphone also for all of the recordings of like the guiro, the cowbell, layering with 2 microphones, for example, using something like this SM58, and then using something like this for like the cajon right there behind me that you don't see, to capture, like it's mostly for capturing like the kick or like the low end of live instruments and shit, right? Super inexpensive set that you can get. I think it's like $400 or something like that for all this stuff. But, you know, I'm not an engineer. I'm not a drum engineer or anything like that. So this is just to like basically learn how to track drums and shit. And I think it's a good like beginner set that you can use for this kind of stuff. Anyway, I'm going to play the song right now. So you heard the original version, and this is going to be the new version that I'm going to be putting out on Saturday for my series on YouTube called Acoustic Sessions. Yes, the Shure B52, baby. Yeah, you know. So I turned the song into pretty much a cumbia. And this is what it sounds like right now. I won't put the vocals in there because the vocals aren't done yet. I have to add more layers and shit to it. Actually, fuck it. You know what? This is the fuck it stream, so we're fucking it. So this is what it sounds like right now, as is. There's not a lot of mixing involved in it. It's very raw, very raw. So here we go. You can still hear me in like the background and shit. Miguelito, oye, morena, agua, hey.
Siete más mujeres que son diablas, please. Negra con bikini solo para mí. Pelo rizado con un culazo así. Morena, mi morenita. Quiero tu cuerpito en mi cama y baila rumba pero solo encima de mí. Baila cumbia pero solo encima de mí, bebé. Baila rumba negra, wey. Morena, morena, morena. Baila rumba negra, ey. Morena, morena, morena. Baila cumbia negra, wey. Morena, morena, morena. Baila rumba negra, ey. Dale, dale. Siempre te adoro, tomaré tu foto cuando me miras así. Una de la noche, sé como
Yes, these are my vocals.
siempre aullando así. Morena, mi morenita aquí. Morena, mi morenita aquí. Yeah. Morena, mi morenita aquí, bebé. Hey, oye, yo te llego hasta el amanecer. Te venero todo el cuerpo de mi tierra, de mi piel. No sabes lo que me haces, enviándome los selfies desnuda pa' que me calles. María Morena from the West Side Story. She from Spanish Harlem pa' que sepan el party. Trae buena vibra y el mari pa' que sepan el party. Hey, dale, baila rumba negra, ey. Morena, morena, morena. Baila rumba negra, ey. Morena, morena, morena. Baila cumbia negra, ey. Morena, morena, morena. Baila rumba negra, wey. Morena, morena. Dale, agua. Chucu, chucu, cha, chucu, cha. Chucu, chucu, cha, chucu, cha, chucu, cha, cha. La, la, ley. Morena, morenita. Morena, morenita. Morena, morenita. Agua. Oh.
So that's what this shit sounds like, right? Let's break this motherfucker down. All right. So what we're doing is, so what I'm gonna do is I'm basically gonna break down everything that I did in terms of like the percussion instruments, and I'll show you how I basically got a full sound when it comes to a lot of this stuff. Especially when you're tracking in your room, especially when you don't necessarily have the proper instruments for the style of music. A lot of it is experimentation and doubling, and to get that full sound, and that full live sound is what you really want. Reverbs and different like tricks and stuff. So let's get right into it, guys. So first thing I started off with here, we have our claps. Again, your hands, they're a percussion instrument. So I incorporated my claps, my hands, my beautiful fucking hands in this shit so that I can capture kind of like a group of people, pretty much clapping when it's just only me. So here's what I have here. So let's start with this, and I'll show you guys exactly how to get that full like group clap kind of sound. And there's like a little trick that you can do as well. So here's my first clap. Right? And now, in order to get a full sound when it comes to percussion instruments, if you don't have the proper equipment, a great thing to do is to double. The tricky part about doubling percussion and rhythm is that they have to be played the exact same way the second time. And if you're not good with rhythm, then it's just going to sound like shit. There's ways around it, but I mean, you kind of want to capture the rhythm and the timing as best as possible. So that's besides the point. Now, to get that full sound, here's a trick that you can do. First thing you could do, record the clap, first clap, right? You get that first rhythm. So the first rhythm is this one for the clap, and then the second rhythm is this one. So you have ba 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 ba, and then ba 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 ba. Now, in order to get that full sound, is you want to double. So you doubling, right? You put you record them twice, and then you just pan them left and right. Or what you can do, what I did here, is you can kind of just like fucking move it around and panning all over the place, so it sounds like there's like a group of people, right? So you have this first rhythm here, doubling. Now you got like a way more full sound compared to this, right? And now you add the second rhythm on top of that. Cool. And it sounds like there's multiple people clapping, but you can make it sound even bigger at the same time. What you can do is you can add something called a house effect. If anybody doesn't know what a house effect is pretty much an effect that you can use with chorus and delay to trick your brain or to trick the listener into thinking that there's multiple people playing an instrument. They use it a lot if they want to kind of like make a sound bigger, or make percussion instruments, usually for percussion instruments, to make it sound like it's a more live kind of feel versus a very dead mono kind of like sound. So you add this house effect, and I'll show you guys what a house effect is. I mix it into a lot of the like groups and stuff like that, or certain instruments, but essentially it's just a very simple 24 minutes on the delay. Yeah. So what I do is right here, I don't know if you guys can see it, but on the chorus, you just put a chorus on there. It's stock chorus that you have on your DAW. Just throw it in there, put it all the way wet. And then, so I'm putting all this on a bus, by the way. And then you get a delay, and instead of having your delay in sync, right, you want to switch it. Every delay has this. We switch it to like the time delay. And what I do is on the left side, I bring it all the way to 1, right? And then on the right side, I bring it up just a little bit, around 13, 14 is like the sweet spot. And this is the effect. So I'll make the effect so it's super extreme, and you put everything on a bus. And the great thing about putting it on a bus instead of putting it on the track itself is that you can just mix it into it. So, because sometimes the house effect, if you put too much of it, it's just going to sound fucking crazy. For example, I'm going to put it at 100%, and this is what it sounds like. Right? It kind of sounds robotic. It kind of sounds kind of like super phasey, and that's not the sound that you want specifically for this kind of music, or for recording like live Latin music and percussion instruments. This is like a trick that you can do to kind of open up the percussion and open up that live feel. So I mix it into it. So I bring it down. This is what it sounds like without it. A little more natural. You want a little more organic feel, and then you just mix it into it. Right? And it's supposed to be very subtle. It's not supposed to be extreme. You want it very subtle. So I keep it like around 20, around here is like the sweet spot. And it just opens it up, and it just makes it bigger. It makes it even louder as well. Again, it's tricking the listener into thinking that there's multiple claps happening when there's only really 2 rhythms and 4 doubles. 2 rhythms and 2 doubles of each rhythm. Now, you go the extra mile. When you're done with everything, you add the reverb into it to really get that live feel. Not too much. Right? So it sounds like you're in a room of people. And now you have a live kind of sound for percussion instruments. So when it comes to Latin music production for producing percussion instruments, 2 things. You double the rhythm, you double the instrument that you're using. If you're using a guido, you double that shit, put it left, put it right. You add a house effect to it just to make it sound a little bit bigger, or that there's multiple people playing, or just to make it sound a little more full in the mix, in the production. And then you add that reverb on it in that group, for example, the same reverb all throughout, keep it consistent so it sounds like you're playing it live. Essentially, I'm playing everything live here when I'm recording it. I'm copy and pasting it, but it's all being recorded live. But to increase that effect, you do those 2 things, or those 3 things. You double, you add the house effect, and you add that reverb in there, and then you create that live feel, an artificial live kind of feel. Let's move on to the next instrument. So we have our clap groups here, right? Now, let's go to the main meat of the percussion, which is here. Or I guess not the meat, but like the I guess the percussion instruments that what's the word? Not accent. That complement. There you go. Fucking high school fucked me up. That complement the other instruments, and these are the instruments that you use for this kind of music for cumbia, which is the cowbell, the guiro, and your bongo, right? So let's listen to really quick the guiro. Same kind of thing. Yeah. So same thing. You want to have camera 2, baby. Shout out to all the viewers. The main meat. Sorry. Shout out to all the viewers that just joined the chat. We got 4 viewers now. What's good, Papi? How you doing? I don't know who you guys are, but show some love in the chat. Throw some hearts in there if you want to. This is the fuck up stream. So welcome to the fuck up stream. We're keeping it going, and we're not stopping, guys. We're not fucking stopping. So now we have the guiro here. Same concept. Double it. Left and right. Now you have a full guiro sound versus just this. Right? And again, you can add the house effect to it. Mix it in there. Makes it sound bigger, makes it sound fuller. Cool. Let's take that off. Now we have the cowbell. And let's add the cowbell in there. Cowbell can be very annoying. It's one of those instruments that you don't necessarily want to put in everything, but for this kind of music, you definitely want to put a cowbell in it because it's a part of the style. And you just mix it in there. So the cowbell sounds like this. Right? And then we'll add the bongo. Now, if you see here, the bongo, what I did was going back to like what I was using for recording it, right? So I had to sit down like over there, and I pretty much, this first track right here, I'll call this track Bongo Shure B52, right? Because that's what I used to record it for that part. So I basically put this microphone underneath me, because when you're playing bongo, you got to sit down and shit. But I put it underneath the bongo, so I put it right under the tushi, and you're basically recording kind of like not necessarily. Like you're kind of recording like the mids of like the instrument, the bottom end of the bongo, right? And it sounds like this, because the B52 is one of those microphones that doesn't capture a lot of information. It just captures the low end. You put that in kicks. I put that in the cajon, for example, just to capture a very so you can essentially just hit the fuck out of the instrument and capture that low end a lot more clearer. So this is what it sounds like. Right? It's very quiet, but you're capturing like kind of like the lower parts of the bongo, even though if it's like a very high end kind of instrument. And then I use this microphone right here to capture the front of the bongo. So I got one underneath the bongo, and then I got one in front of the bongo, and I'm recording them at the same time to get a full bongo sound. And this is what it sounds like using this microphone in front of the bongo, which sounds like this. I actually take this out. Now, I'm not a bongo player. I don't fucking play bongos and shit. I just hit the shit and I hope for the best. But if you can hear like very faintly, you'll hear like the background noise. Which will affect your mix. I'm just letting you know right now. Like if you don't get rid of all that like rumble and all that stuff in the mix, all that background noise, it's gonna fuck with the mix. It's gonna fuck with the production. And especially if you're using a microphone like this, which captures a lot more information, a lot more frequencies, a lot more high end, high mids, and it captures just literally the entire room. You want to kind of suppress that background noise so you have a cleaner mix and a cleaner, fuller percussion sound. So what you do is you reduce the noise. So I'll use this NS1 right here, which basically helps. If you don't use this on anything, if you use live instrumentation, always use a noise reducer. Or if you're using guitars or bass, always use a noise reducer because it just cleans it up in the beginning of the chain. Right, so it's still kind of capturing the background noise. Right, and then you take it off, turn it on. All right, so it's still suppressing some of the sounds, doing a good job, but I still want it to be a little bit cleaner, so I'll use a gate. So a gate is like a great thing that you can use. It's very, I usually try not to use, you usually record this shit like in a dead like studio room or a live room or something like that, a treated room, and you know, you want to capture you just want to capture a very dead recording so you have the ability to manipulate it even more. But if you don't and you're recording in a room like this, you can use a gate. Only thing about a gate is that it could make your fucking instrument, especially you want that natural live feel, the gate could make your shit sound super choppy. So I'll show you what that sounds like. So this is like the default setting. Right, so it's kind of like choppy a little bit, which is okay. I mean, it depends on what you're trying to go for. But I want a more natural, organic, live feel, so I'll just ease up on the threshold a little bit. It's still bringing down all that noise, but I'll make it a little more organic and push and go back on the threshold a little bit. And now both of them together in context, so you have a fuller sound. And right, so you got a nice full bongo, live, organic kind of sound, which is fantastic. Now, let's add all the other instruments in there. And then we'll add the house effect to this percussion group to kind of make it sound a little more fuller. Add the reverb into it a little bit. Right, and that's like your percussion meat. That's your percussion meat of the song. And I added, these effects in the group of the percussion instrument, but I won't get into that. But what you really want to do is always put a compressor in that group of instruments of any kind that you're doing, whether it's digital or live instrumentation, in order to glue all the instruments together so it just sounds a little more full, way more fatter, and it just sounds cohesive just in the production. Let's move on. Alrighty then. So we have our claps, we have our percussion. Now we're gonna get to the meat of all of everything, which is basically the cajon, which acts as the kick and the snare, the bass in the rhythm section, and then I actually included a low tom, which is back there in the added the low tom back there, which is right here, and then I added the crash cymbal, and I kind of like made like a little makeshift drum set without using like the kick or the snare, and just kind of using the low tom, the ride cymbal, and the crash cymbal. That's a low volume crash cymbal, and that's what I recorded here. So let's see what that sounds like. Let's start with the cajon. What the fuck, Nuggets? Let's start with the cajon first. Ooh, that shit loud, Poppy. That shit big as hell. That's what she said. So this is what the cajon sounds like. Now, this is what the cajon sounds like without any of that stuff. And I'll show you guys what I put on there. I just put 2 plugins for that shit. But this is what the cajon sounds like without that shit. So I got the cajon in the back, and then I got cajon front. So for the cajon in the back, I use the Shure B52, just to put it inside of the cajon in the opening of the hole. And then for the front, I use this microphone to capture the snare of the cajon, and just the front part of it to capture more of the high end. Same thing I did with the bongo, and then you get a nice full fucking sound. And then what I did was I added these 2 plugins. This is something I wanted to show you guys, especially if you guys don't know what this is. This is Decap's knock plugin. I use this on all my drums. I don't use anything else. This is probably the equivalent of the drum bus in Ableton. I think the Decap this knock plugin just shits on every single drum bus plugin and every single DAW. Like fuck FL, fuck Logic, fuck even Ableton's like drum bus. This is the one that you want to get because this shit just makes your shit sound fucking crazy, right? So this is what it sounds like without the fucking these plugins. Now watch when I activate the knock plugin, and this is just a default setting on breakbeat subtle distortion, and this is what it sounds like. And with it activated on, bruh, it brings out the sub in the it brings out a sub in a cajon. First of all, there's no sub in a cajon, but it brings out a meaty low end sub in the cajon. You can saturate the fuck out of it. You could add some air, which is something you definitely need for something like this. For like a cajon, you want to get that high end for like the snare, and a clipper, and then you just again dry wet, mix it in there until it sounds like it just sounds like you're beating the shit out of a drum. Well, I guess that's what I'm doing. I'm beating the shit out of a fucking box. But yeah, fucking the Decap knock plugin, you need to get that shit. If you don't, use it for all your drums. It's the only thing that you need. It's the only thing that I use. I don't use anything else. And then what I did also was add a glue compressor. Again, adding a glue compressor to your groups when you're grouping like your different instrumentation and stuff like that, claps, percussion, whatever. It's just gonna glue all of the shit that you recorded together, and it sounds more cohesive and more consistent. So here's what it sounds like with the glue compressor now. So this is with the knock plugin and the compressor. Makes it sound a little bit warmer too when you use the glue compressor. Yo, the Ableton glue compressor is just fucking like top tier shit, bro. It's like the top tier glue compressor. There's another one that I use. It's the SSL compressor for waves, but this one in particular, just the stock plugin for the glue compression, just sounds fucking fantastic. Right? Cool. And then one thing I forgot to do here, because I'm in the middle of like mixing this shit, is to add an EQ at the end of everything, because the knock plugin and the glue compressor, it's gonna actually build up all this shit right here, all this low end, which you don't really need, because you want to leave that space for around here for the bass, which I'm gonna bring in a little bit. But you basically just cut that shit out. Cut that shit out, dog. Cut that shit out, dog. And just remove all that muddy low end that you don't need for this shit. Like around 55. And you just get a nice clean cajon mixed into your shit. And then you leave all that space for the bass. You know what I'm saying? That should be my catchphrase now. I hope nobody took that who does these like production like tutorials and shit. Leave that space for that bass. That should be like an audio engineering shirt. And then let's add the bass in there. So the bass, I played it as well. Played it live all the way through. As you can see, everything is played live. Nothing is copied and pasted. It's all one take. It was multiple takes, but it's all one fucking take. So the bass, right here, and you add it into it. And let's see what that sounds like. And this here, just for context, I'll show you guys. It is a humble flex, but I take pride in the fact that I can fucking play a fucking instrument. As you should too, Nefertiti. You play a fucking instrument, motherfucking instruments and shit. So here's what the bass sounds like without that shit, without all this stuff. This is just my Squire bass back there somewhere in my rack. And you get a pretty good sound out of that bass too without the stuff. Oh, actually, that's why it's having that, because you have all this stuff in there too. So actually, I'll take all this shit off really quick. I did all of this. I did it all, motherfucker. Here's what the bass sounds like. Here's what it sounds like dry. And what I have on here, I put a compressor on there because it was coming in really hot. I even turned down the gain a little bit too for the bass. So I put our compressor over here just to control it a little bit more. Nice little squeeze. And then here's another plugin cheat code that especially you, Nefertiti, that you guys, anybody could use. But this is a super, super dope plugin that you can fucking, it's a little bit expensive, but it's absolutely worth it. If you're not familiar with Archetype, which is by Neural DSP. Yeah, actually the knock plugin is on the, it's on the group, right? So I put the knock plugin on the group on the entire rhythm section, so that because the knock plugin also acts as a glue compressor as well, not necessarily, but when you put your drums with the bass and you group them together and you add that knock plugin on top of it in the group and a glue compressor to glue it all together, your drums are gonna sound fucking meaty. They're gonna sound hard. They're gonna knock, and they're gonna knock, and it just brings everything together. So definitely, I always do that all the time with my drums. Group your drums and your bass together, add that knock plugin in that motherfucker, and your drums are gonna just take another level. But this is another like cheat code that it's like more of a luxury kind of thing. But this is called Archetype by Corey Wong. If you're not familiar who Corey Wong is, he's a guitarist from Wolfpack. Amazing fucking band. But he developed this plugin by Neural DSP, which is so fucking cool. So many different kinds of presets. I use this for different, it's like an emulator for guitars and shit, for pedals or whatever. I won't get too into it, but I will kind of like show you what I did with the bass for it here. So there's a preset called the J bass here, and I didn't touch anything, but you can like adjust it. It's super manipulative. You know what I mean? It has this nice super head from a cab. You have this delay and this reverb plugins, and it's just like first of all, let me show you what it sounds like without the bass, without the Archetype, right? So this is what it sounds like without it. Now with the Archetype. Amazing. That fucking low end sounds amazing right now, right? Let's add these other plugins. Cutting off everything below 20. right? And then leaving a little space for the cajon to kind of like kick in this area right here. Actually, I'll show you like a little technique. Here's a really cool technique that you can use also when it comes to drum processing. I use it all the time. You can use it in any kind of genre. But one thing you can do is, say, for example, you had a kick, right? If you have a kick and you want that kick to cut through the bass, and sometimes, you know, it also depends on like the sample that you use. Like if you use a really boomy bass, you kind of want to use a pointy kick so that it cuts through. But sometimes if you're doing a live performance or a live recording where you have a cajon, for example, or a kick, or using a kick drum, you want that kick to kind of cut through the bass because they share the same frequencies. So here's what you could do. You can, and this is, I only know how to do this for Ableton. I'm sure like the other DAWs can do it, but this is what you can do. Say for example, I have, okay, so the back of the cajon, right? So the cajon back, I consider the kick, the kick, and the cajon front, I consider that the snare. All right, I even mixed, EQ'd it that way. And what you do is on Ableton, right, open it up so you can kind of see it. You want to route the kick to the bass. So you go here and you're sending out your kick to the bass. All right, so you're sending out your kick to the bass. And now, and you have to have something like a Pro Q3. I think you could do with other EQs, but with the Pro Q3 it's just easier because you can actually look at it. I'll show you what I mean. And then right under here, you select the Stereo Sidechain Pro Q3. So it's kind of like a side chaining technique, but it's a little more hands-on. So now you go to the bass, and you go to your Pro Q3, and now watch this. So you don't hear the kick now, but right here, you'll see this red shit happening here. That is the kick coming from the cajon back from here. This is all this. So you'll see it in the bass visually. And then the great thing about the Pro Q3 is that it will identify where the clashing is happening between the bass and the kick, right? Which is right here around 74 hertz. You see that red happening right there. So that red right there, all that shit is what you want to take away from your bass guitar, so that you can did I do that? I don't know. You just take all that shit out. And the reason you do that is so that the kick can just come through clear through the bass and cut through, and so you can hear it a little bit clearer. So here's what it sounds like now that I did that. And you just go back here and you bring it back to the group. And then you add that cajon in the front. Right? So it's a little more distinction between the bass and the kick, but you do that when you EQ it, and you'll notice a big difference. It's a little not as noticeable from here because of the cajon. It's all live too, so you have so many different artifacts happening within the mix. But if you do it like a digital kick or a sample of a kick, and you get a bass or like an 808, for example, you use that technique, and you'll see a big difference in how much your kick will sound in the mix and how much it stands out compared to the bass. So it's super, 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 that's like a fucking super cheat code. That's like something you should always do, because your kick and your bass is the most important thing in the mix. So you want to make sure there's some distinction between it. Let's go to some camera 2 action really quick. Is it still on? Nope. You see this shit? I need that Sony, bruh. Anyway, let's move on, guys. I'm spending a lot of time on this on the stuff. And so anyway, you have all that stuff in there. And then I added the crash ride. Have you been hiding him? The stream is this the fucked up stream? Can't wait to Oh my god. Yeah, this is the fuck up stream, guys. This is the if you just tuned in, welcome to the fuck up stream, because I did talk for actually around this time is when I was actually getting into this whole thing, like 2 hours ago before. So, but now we're up to speed, we're caught up, and let's keep it moving. Okay. So in the rhythm group right here, we added those other things. So we added a low tom, and then we added a crash ride just to add some more flair to the instrumentation. So I'm using this low tom as a layer for the snare, actually. Bring it up a little bit. I want it to be very subtle. I'm gonna actually take away a little bit more of the low, because I just want it to be accented with the snare of the cajon. And when you play it back with the cajon in front, it just makes it sound a little bit full. It's super subtle, but it's definitely going to increase like the meat, which is the drums of the song. And you have that little crash in the ride. Don't want to add too much crash and ride. Again, it's like one of those instruments where the bell of the crash is I'm your fourth celebrity crush. What the fuck? Who's your third, second, and first? That's kind of insulting. At least top three, motherfucker. Top five. But yeah, so you add the crash to give it a little more high end. With the rhythm, not too much, especially for this kind of mix, because you also have, guys, all this other shit. So here's what everything sounds like in the rhythm all together. Watch this. Now I'm going to play it back, and I'm going to add the knock, the glue compressor, and the EQ. Actually, I'm going to take off the EQ because it also cuts out the low one, and that's why I didn't put it there in the first place. So here's what it sounds like. Oh my God, Jidenna is actually really fucking hot. I'm not going to lie. I actually had a crush on Jidenna. No, I'm not going to lie. And I'm straight as fuck, but he's hot. Jason Momoa, I feel like he's getting played out now. Drake, I don't know what the fuck you see in Drake. I think it's the Canadian that I don't like, that makes him kind of unattractive. Anyway, so now I'm going to add the knock. Now watch the difference. This is without it, and this is with it on in the rhythm group section. Now with the glue compressor on, just glues everything together and just get a full, nice, round, low end. Drake is the GOAT. Drake is the GOAT, obviously, but he's just funny looking. I don't know what it is. He's just a funny looking dude. Maybe because I just probably see too much of Degrassi in him. I can't let go. Right. So that use it. Yo, that's a fucking rule and a half. Never date someone who uses Celsius. We do Fahrenheit here, god damn it. And we don't use kilometers. We use miles, like we're true fucking American in this bitch. And Drake doesn't use that, so fuck him. But his music is fantastic. Anyway, so yeah, so that's all of the rhythm section for the entire song. Play it one more time for you guys really quick. Now, that is pretty much all there is to recording live in your room. And then when you get into like mixing and all that stuff, that's just, you're just trying to, if you're recording in like a live room, like I'm sorry, if you're recording in your room, any kind of instrumentation, you just want to pretty much take out as much of those low end rumbles as much as possible, so that you have a nice clean mix. I'm probably going to use a couple of gates on some of the instruments just to have a cleaner mix, for the production. I know we are wrong not using the metric system, but Fahrenheit is king. Listen, if it ain't broke, just leave it alone, all right? We use it. I'm fucking comfortable with it. We don't need to go back in time. So now I'll show you guys, just for shits and giggles, the other instruments that I added, which is the guitar. Let's see really quick. I won't put the lead guitar. So the nylon guitar. So the nylon guitar, again, live instrumentation. Using this microphone to record the guitars, which is just using this microphone. Again, another technique that you could use, especially with a rhythm heavy song, and you don't want to put too many stringed instruments, or just other kinds of instruments that aren't rhythm. Using that kind of same technique of doubling, says the man that understands how to use grams to weigh things. Are you talking about me? How you know I was trapping? I never told anybody that information. How you know I was trapping? That's not me, right? You're not talking about me. No, you're not talking about me. No, you're not talking about me. Okay, cool. Anyway, this is what I have for the guitar. So here's the guitars. I'm a saint, motherfucker. So again, to get that really full nylon, to get that full live guitar sound, it is an electric nylon string guitar, but I don't really like using, for that specific guitar, I don't really like plugging it in to an interface. I like using the rawness of the guitar, especially when it comes to classical guitar, and especially for something like this, where it's a live production. And I'll show you guys what I did here. I don't think I really did a lot. I really didn't do a lot, but to get that sound. Oh, one thing I didn't do here is I didn't put a noise reducer. Where is the noise reducer? I'm blind as fuck. Oh my God. Oh, here it is. Fuck. For live instruments like guitars and shit, like I said, noise reducers is king. Clean up your mix. Clean up all the background noise, all the bullshit you don't need. Now it's cleaner. Compared to, I'll show you just one. Compared to this. You can even kind of hear the metronome in the background as well. But with it on, and the other one together, and you pan left and right, and you got a nice full guitar sound. Let's start adding all the other instruments into the mix, so you get a feel for the vibe. So rhythm. Now the percussion instruments. Claps. And then add a little bit of reverb. Again, keep the reverb the same and keep it consistent throughout the mix. There's definitely a lot of stuff that needs to be fixed. Some things are turned down a little bit, but also, mind you, and this is why I love doing these live performances, is because it doesn't have to be perfect. It's not supposed to be perfect, actually. It's supposed to be a live performance. It's not supposed to be, like, things aren't supposed to be, like, fucking quantized. Things aren't supposed to be, the vocals don't have to sound pretty. They don't have to sound in tune sometimes. It's supposed to be live for a reason, right? So that's why I do it, because it just gives you an opportunity to just kind of make mistakes, but it has that organic live instrumentation kind of feel to it. And then what I did before I go into the vocals was I added this lead guitar into it, which is just a little rhythm, a little high end. Put a little delay, put a little verb on that motherfucker. Again, oh, I could show you guys this shit now with the lead guitar for the archetype. 4 guitars, this shit is king. Again, just the quality is just ridiculously like noticeable. So this is the, again, archetype. This is the clean as whistle preset, and I use it mostly for, excuse me, I use it mostly for like these kind of like rhythmic the rhythm guitar mostly, or for leads and shit like that. And this is what it sounds like without the archetype. Now look how crazy. Ready? Now with it on. It just brings out everything, and then you add all the other stuff involved in it. Noise reducer thing. And initially I had like the Saturn for saturation, and then I had the decapitator to have a little bit more distortion, just a little bit, so it stands out in the mix. But both these things, the archetype, it does both of what these things do, which is why I love the archetype. It takes up a lot of CPU, but it's what I do is I just put the archetype on there. Once I have a nice clean guitar, I throw the archetype on there, just the archetype by itself, and then I will freeze the track, and then I'll freeze the track, and I'll have it as an audio. What's it called? Freezing it. I'll show you right now, because I clearly can't fucking speak anything. I can't speak. Just to give you an example. And this is only if it takes up some CPU. But for example, if you have like recorded guitar, throw the archetype on there, freeze the track, flatten the track, and then start adding the other plugins on there, like compressors, or if you want to add more saturation and the EQ and everything like that, just so you have like a bass, nice clean guitar that you like, sounds like you recorded it from, you know, analog, that kind of way. And then yeah, take that off. But I have like 32 gigs of RAM and 1 terabyte of fucking storage in this thing. What the fuck, bro? I don't know what's going on. So I just go crazy and put fucking 100 plugins on each track. Anyway, this is what it sounds like with the lead guitar. Morena, morena, morena. My GoPro's acting weird. No, oh baby, why you gotta do this to me? Why you gotta do this to me? Let me see if I can do intermission. Damn, bro. Why are you being a bitch? Can you guys still hear me at least? Who the fuck is that? Hi, my friend. I have an idea. Let me see if this shit will work. Okay, cool. As long as you guys hear it. But actually, let me do this really quick. I wonder why it's doing that. Maybe if I turn it off. Yeah, I know the money shot was fucking golden. It was money. All right, let me turn it back on. I fucking hate this shit. Why you ruining my vibe? Technology? Literally ruining the vibe. You suck. Possibly need to turn the rolling on and off, but keep OBS on so the stream stays on. That won't fuck anything up, right? Well, it's not connected to the rolling. It's just straight up connected to the laptop. Because remember, I don't have that cable. Let me just do this because troubleshooting. Because this shit annoying. I'm gonna use this. I'm gonna connect this. I'm gonna put you here. Let's see what this does. And then I'm going to add a different source. Video capture, add the source, and then put the iPhone and add the source. Put that in webcam. Can you guys see that? Perfect. So let me copy. I'm going to paste it here. All right. Oopsies. All right, we're getting it together, guys. We're getting somewhere. Fucking troubleshoot these nuts. All right, I'm just gonna keep it like that. Anyway, we're back. Where was I? I was talking about, yeah. So I added this little guitar here. I'm gonna wrap it up in a little bit anyway. And then in the mix. And I I just want that lead guitar to be very subtle. Again, the most important part is knowing what kind of music that you're doing and what kind of, the style and everything. And the most important thing about this is the drums and the percussion within the song. And then obviously you add the vocals, so you want to sit them in the front.
Baila rumba negra, wey. Morena, morena, morena. Baila rumba negra, ey. Morena, morena, morena. Baila cumbia negra, wey. Morena, morena, morena. Baila rumba negra, ey. Dale, dale. Siempre te adoro, tomaré tu foto cuando me miras así. Una de la noche, soy como coyote, siempre aullando así. Morena, more mi morenita aquí. Morena, more mi morenita aquí. Yeah. Morena, more mi morenita aquí, bebé. Hey, oye, yo te
All right. Anyway, there's a lot of stuff that went into that whole thing. Let's go. I think I got camera 2 working. Hey, camera 2, we're back, baby, you son bitch. Anyway, that is my fucking I guess technique, my workflow when it comes to Latin music production. Hope you guys learned something from it. There was a lot of gems in there that I didn't even know. That I didn't even know. I didn't even know I was able to, like, honestly, the thing is like, I never even imagined, like, talking about a lot of this stuff, because this is all stuff that I learned on YouTube anyway. So it's just like me telling people about it doesn't necessarily feel like it's my technique. But it's definitely a fusion of mine and other people's, like, tutorials and techniques and what they use and stuff, and trying to kind of making it your own. So that's why I'm kind of like taking a leap into this shit and just showing you guys my workflow, and maybe something where you can take from me, you can take you can fuse with something of your own technique, and again build your own kind of like style when it comes to like producing and mixing, when producing whatever music that it is that you do. You all rock this. Can't imagine having the musical skills and needing this. Oh my god. Oh god, it's a stressful fucking thing, man. I'm not even gonna front. It's just like, and it's expensive as shit. It's not like a cheap venture at all. It's just it's one of those things that you really have to like fall in love with. I was talking with somebody about it yesterday on a podcast interview, and he was telling me, like, you do all this stuff, the YouTube, the vlogs, and producing and putting out music and singles and marketing and just so many fucking different things, that, it's like one of those things where you really, really have to like fall in love with this shit, because if you don't, then you're just going to be miserable, like kind of like, I could have just, when Nefertiti was like, where are you? Why is the live not on? I could have just fucking tossed over the computer, burned the fucking house down, and fucking like, fuck it, I hate this shit, this is fucking dumb. But it's one of those things where you have to love it so much that you're able to kind of like suck it up, regroup, and then do it again and do it again and do it again until you get it right. And that's what it's all about, man. It's like, it's all about getting it right and failing so many fucking times to the point where you can't fail anymore. There's obviously room for failure in many circumstances. There's, life is life, but you get better at dealing with failure. And I think that I've gotten to the point in my life where I'm just so used to failing, and I'll get mad, but I'll get over it really quick. And that's the thing when it comes to this kind of stuff, is you can't burn yourself out. Not to burn the house down. Photography, video, yeah, I'll burn this bitch to the ground. Well, if this was me like 5, 6, 7 years ago, definitely I would have been like, fuck this, I don't want to do this shit anymore, fuck this computer, fuck this camera, fuck everybody, fuck life, I'm out. But you can't be that way, especially in this industry. You just cannot, if you really want the shit, you just cannot, you just can't give up. That's all it is. You can't really give up. Photography, video is my gig. Music is my love hobby. Can't imagine being forced to be great at both. Yeah, I mean, I can't. I said the same thing too. I couldn't imagine, having to do both these things. I just started streaming literally last week. Like I was streaming on Twitch before, but it was for like a different reason, and I had different equipment. But the equipment definitely helps. Upgrading the equipment, and having help like Nefertiti, who helps a lot, who helped me a lot with this stuff, and getting like the right equipment for this kind of thing. So the right equipment, the right people, the right mindset, it just makes the thing easier, and it makes it more fun than anything. So yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. That's all I have for you for today. I have to finish this mix because I have to put out a preview for it tomorrow. Is today Wednesday? Today is Wednesday. Okay, cool. Today is Wednesday. So yeah, I have to finish this mix and make sure it gets all done. And then I got to go into Final Cut Pro, and then I got to do the video and edit the video that my boy, shout out to Lester Pernala, who recorded, came to my house and recorded me actually playing all the live instrumentation. So all the stuff that you heard today, you're going to see me play it on Saturday on my YouTube acoustic sessions, but I'm going to be doing it live. And I got to edit that shit too. So it's a lot, but I love it. I really do. I fucking love this shit so much that I'm willing to obsess over it and put the time in, because one, this is all I do now. So there's no excuse for me not to do it. And two, it's just, you got to fall in love with it. That's really all it is. Third stream's the charm. Well, I guess we'll see now that I know how to fucking now I know not to put it on webcam and how to actually schedule the shit. But yeah, it's all trial and error. It's all fucking work in progress. But we get through it, and it's good to have a community of people too that kind of like understands too. It's very hard to do this kind of thing without support, or just at least to have somebody to talk to about it who kind of understands like what you do and what you're trying to do. And then you can like share similarities, you can share hardships, you can share like like Nefertiti knows, like she knew exactly what I was going through when she hit me up. So yeah, you gotta love it. That's all it is. You gotta fucking love it. But anyway, guys, I am done with talking. Clearly, there's been a frog in my throat for the last 2 hours, and I'm gonna get to finish mixing this thing and get it done, and then yeah, check it out on Saturday. I'll have it on my my YouTube channel, Acoustic Sessions Volume 2. It will be coming out here, and you'll get to check out the full mix for this entire thing. All right. By the way, does anybody have any questions? I'm sure that I was just like, that's what I got to do next time. Again, trial and error. I have to ask if people have questions about the shit. But fuck all that right now. But if you guys have any questions later on, just let me know, hit me up, and yeah, I'll be more than happy to help out. Anyway, this is my live stream. My name is Laurito. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'm out this bitch, and mucho amor y suerte por mis amigos out there, and thank you for tuning in. Peace out. AJ, you were in the fucking chat? What the fuck? What the fuck, bro? Hold up. I'm going to camera 2 for this. Why the fuck didn't you say anything, bruh? Anyway, I just want to say hi. Oh, I'm such a piece of shit. Anyway, thank you guys for tuning in. My name is Laurito. Make sure you like and subscribe to my channel. It's your boy. All right, I'm done. Fuck y'all. Bye.
baby, ya se acabó. Tú no tienes que dejar a él por mí. Y baby, ya no lo compliques. Quiero disfrutarte una vez más aquí. Solo tú y yo esta noche celebrando a ti. Belén, ven, guan, guan, go. Belén, ven, guan, solo tú y yo esta noche siempre me encendí. Belén, ven, guan, guan, go. Belén, ven, guan, guan, go. Siempre vas de mis manos, pero tiene mi atención cuando está aquí, yeah. Y da la vuelta, baila rumba cool y suelta, subimos las vibras y la cuenta, una noche más de fiesta, ella bellaquita, estoy tentado a volver contigo. Y dice Belén, ven, guaguancó. Belén, ven, guaguancó. Belén, ven, guaguancó. Solo tú y yo esta noche celebrando a ti. Belén, ven, guaguancó. Belén, ven, solo tú y yo esta noche siempre me encendí. Belén, ven, guaguancó. Belén, ven, guaguancó. Fumando mucho sabiduría, con el bendición de la vida, tan libre contigo en las montañas cuando me bañas, en el espíritu de tus labios, dulce de mi caña, tierra de mi vida. Fumo muchos sueños pa' que no te olvides, nadando en tus aguas y tu alma decides, mojadita en mis manos pa' que vuelva y pide.